In the bustling world of global tourism, stereotypes run rampant. But sometimes, a single encounter can shatter everything you think you know. Mina, a server at a popular hotel restaurant in Bangkok, Thailand, says she will never forget the sights she witnessed during her time there. When asked about her experiences, Mina confesses with a hint of embarrassment. "To be honest, I used to feel a bit uncomfortable dealing with Americans." She explains that when she first started working at the hotel, serving native English speakers was a source of immense anxiety. She had assumed that guests from the United States, accustomed to high standards and fast-paced lifestyles, would be demanding, loud, or impatient with her limited English skills. She expected them to speak rapidly using complex slang, leaving her flustered and unable to keep up. However, the reality was often confusing in a different way. Many of the American guests she encountered were surprisingly chill. They were warm, certainly, but they possessed a certain respectful distance. They didn't snap their fingers or demand attention. When Mina struggled to explain a menu item, they didn't roll their eyes. Instead, they would lean in, smile patiently, and speak slowly and clearly, ensuring she understood. They were humble, almost to a fault. Mina initially found this puzzling. Why aren't they more assertive, she wondered. Aren't Americans supposed to be boisterous? Their calm demeanor and refusal to cause a scene made her wonder if they were judging her silently. Having never been to the US and lacking American friends, Mina had unknowingly harbored a bias. She mistook their respect for personal space as coldness or detachment. But one evening, an incident occurred at the dinner buffet that completely upended Mina's perception of the American spirit. It was evening, and the buffet stations were laden with Thai delicacies. The aroma of roasted chicken, spicy green curry, rich pad thai, and the famous tom yum kung soup filled the air. It was a feast for the senses, and guests were lining up, eager to eat. Then, the group Mina mentally referred to as the Hurricane arrived. It was a large tour group from a neighboring country, the specific rude group from the original story. As soon as they entered, the atmosphere in the restaurant shifted from a pleasant hum to a chaotic roar. The buffet zone instantly turned into a battlefield. They didn't just walk in. They stormed in with an air of absolute entitlement. When Mina politely asked them to wait for a table, a man bellowed, "We paid to stay here. Where is our seat?" His volume was so high, he didn't need a microphone. Conversation at other tables ceased entirely. Once seated, the real spectacle began. They sprinted toward the buffet line like athletes at the buzzer. At the tom yum soup station, they jostled and shoved, fighting over ladles as if the food were about to vanish. They piled their plates high, towers of food that defied gravity, taking portions meant for 3 or 4 people. It was a display of every man for himself. They cut lines, reached over other guests, and treated the concept of a queue as a suggestion for fools. The noise was deafening. Shouting was their baseline volume. But the worst part was the waste. They ate with a primal urgency, leaving tables covered in debris, then simply walked away, leaving mountains of uneaten food behind. When Mina or other staff tried to gently intervene, the guests would snap back, "It's a buffet. We can take whatever we want." For the staff, this wasn't just a dinner service, it was a survival game. Mina kept a professional smile plastered on her face, but inside, she was exhausted. One night, Mina reached her breaking point. The restaurant was packed, and the Hurricane group was in full force. The chef had prepared special dishes that night, a signature gapeo rice and fluffy Hainanese chicken rice. The chef was proud of his work, but within minutes, these dishes were reduced to messy piles on the group's tables, mostly uneaten. Then came the incident with the alcohol. A man from the group saw a sign indicating that alcohol cost extra. He slammed his beer glass onto the table, shaking the cutlery. "Why do I have to pay for beer?" he screamed, his face red. "If I choke on this food without a drink, who is responsible? You?" Mina froze. This wasn't a complaint. It was an absurdist drama. For an hour, she tried to explain hotel policy, apologizing profusely as he berated her. With every shout, a piece of her spirit chipped away. Finally, She retreated to the break room and wept. It was the first time she had cried at work. She felt less like a human being and more like a servant born to clean up other people's messes. The next morning, Mina arrived at work early, her eyes still puffy. She prayed for a peaceful shift. That's when a group of 8 people appeared at the entrance. It was an extended family, an older couple, 2 younger couples, and several children. They looked distinctively Western, dressed casually but neatly. The older gentleman stepped forward. In clear, gentle English, he asked, "Good morning. May we please come in?" Mina was stunned. There was no demand, no "we paid for this." Just a humble request. They waited patiently for her to guide them. "Of course," she stammered. As she led them to their table, she noticed something unusual. The children held their parents' hands and walked quietly. There was no running, no screaming. Mina glanced at the buffet. The popular stations were getting busy. Based on her experience with the large tour groups, she expected a rush. But this American family was different. They joined the line and waited. They didn't cut in. When they reached the food, they didn't pile their plates into mountains. They took small, modest portions, a little curry, a scoop of rice, a piece of chicken. They moved with a casual grace, respecting the space of the guests around them. Mina watched, perplexed. Don't they like the food? She thought. Why are they taking so little? Then a small incident occurred. A young boy, about 10 years old, accidentally dropped a pair of tongs.
Clang.
Immediately, the boy turned to Mina, bowed his head slightly, and said, "I am so sorry, ma'am." His parents rushed over, not to scold him, but to apologize to her. "We are so sorry for the trouble," the mother said with a genuine smile. Mina felt a lump in her throat. The politeness was overwhelming. They treated the restaurant not like a feeding trough, but like someone's home. Mina was so curious about their small portions that she gathered her courage to approach the table. "Is everything okay? Do you enjoy the food?" she asked, worried it wasn't to their American tastes. The family beamed at her. "Oh, it's absolutely delicious," the grandmother said. "We love Thai food."
But
"You only took a little bit," Mina blurted out, then mentally kicked herself. "You can have more, you know. It is a buffet." One of the fathers smiled warmly and explained, "We know. But looking at the line, we saw how popular the dishes are. We didn't want to take all the good stuff. We wanted to make sure there was enough left for everyone else to try. If we're still hungry, we can always come back later, right?" Time seemed to stop for Mina. We wanted to make sure there was enough for everyone else. Coming from a background where the buffet mentality was grab it before it's gone, this mindset was alien to her. It was a philosophy of community and fairness. These Americans weren't just being polite, they were being considerate. They were hyper-aware of their impact on the people around them. This consideration extended to the staff, too. Every time Mina refilled a water glass, she got a "thank you." When she went to clear plates, the family had already stacked them neatly to make her job easier. "Here, let me hand that to you," one of the men said, passing her a plate so she wouldn't have to reach across the table. Mina realized these people weren't here just to consume. They were here to share the space. Later, in the break room, Mina spoke with Pia, a housekeeper. "Hey, Mina, did you see the rooms that American family checked out of?"
Pia asked.
"No, why?" "They were spotless," Pia said, looking amazed. "It's like they tried to hide the fact that anyone stayed there. The dirty towels were piled in one spot. The trash was all bagged and tied up. They even stripped the bedsheets and folded them." Pia shook her head in disbelief. "I've never seen guests strip the bed. It's like they wanted to save my back from hurting. And look." Pia held up a piece of hotel stationery. On it, written in neat handwriting, was, "Thank you for taking care of us."
Beside a Crise Petit.
The other groups leave the room looking like a bomb went off, Pia sighed. Sticky floors, trash everywhere. But these Americans, they leave peace behind. The staff agreed. The Americans acted with integrity even when no one was watching. It wasn't about following rules, it was about empathy. They could imagine the person who would have to clean up after them, and they acted accordingly. This realization transformed Mina. I used to think Americans were intimidating or distant, she reflected. But now I see it differently. Their quietness is respect. Their space is an invitation for others to be comfortable. Mina thought back to the rude guest screaming about the beer, and then to the American father explaining why they didn't hog the shrimp. If I ever have children, Mina told Pia, her eyes shining, I want them to visit America. I want them to learn that kind of confidence, the confidence to be kind, to wait your turn, and to think of others before yourself. Mina had learned a valuable lesson. In a buffet, where you can take anything you want, your true character is revealed by what you don't take. The Americans showed her that true abundance isn't about how high you can pile your plate, but about ensuring there is enough room at the table for